I wanna take you somewhere so you know I care, but it's so cold and I don't know where.
Are you part of the students that are struggling with English? If so, you're at the right place at the right time. I am here to help you get a distinction for English as a whole. If you didn't know, I uploaded a video for how to get a distinction specifically for paper 3, and in today's video we are going to dwell much on how to get a distinction for English paper 1 and English paper 2. And if you're worried about, is this video for people that are doing English FAL or is this video for people that are doing English home language, don't be worried about that, because like I said, you're at the right place at the right time. I am a student that did both English FAL and English home language, so I have experience in both. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into the video. Hi everyone, my name is Hope, better known as Hope M. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. As always, I have tips here. I wrote them down, so if I keep looking down, just know that I'm looking at my notebook. So guys, in today's video, I don't want to waste any time. I am doing this video, you're seeing this video today because I did it today, just because there are some people that said they are writing tomorrow and other people said are writing on Friday. So I want to accommodate people who are actually writing this week. Even if you're writing next week, lucky you have time to sort all of that out. You still have time to prepare. So like I said, without wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into the video. Tip number 1. Right now we're going to be focusing on the comprehension. I think it's section A, right? Question 1. So when it comes to the comprehension, there isn't really much to say. You know why? Because they give you a story and you're going to read and answer based on that story. A tip that I would give you when it comes to a comprehension, I would say that you should read the entire comprehension, right? When you're done reading the comprehension, read the questions. Try to answer where you can. If you feel like you're getting stuck a lot, go back to the comprehension so you can be able to answer the questions. Another tip that I can give you in regards to a comprehension is that sometimes when we're busy writing, right, we do not know the answer. So when you don't know the answer, look at the question, right? When they talk about gas, and go back to the comprehension and look for a part where they are talking about gas. That is actually where you're going to make 1 + 1 equals to 2. You search for the word gas ka question, and then you also search it ka comprehension, and then you try and make up an answer for the question that you didn't have an answer to. But my most important tip is for you not to leave anything blank, because you never know. The answer that you skip might actually boost you and you might get it correct, and then at the end of the day you'll end up getting your distinction. If you're a person that is aiming for a distinction, you should never ever skip any question, regardless of which subject it is. Focus and make sure that you get an answer even though there is no answer. Like I like saying, if you have to lie, but your lies have to make sense for you to pass. Another tip that I would like to give you is that if a comprehension gives you a tough time, right, out of all the questions you feel like a comprehension gives you a tough time, make sure that you write it last. Mina, I used to write it last, but it didn't give me a rough time. I just preferred writing it last. I don't know why, but I would answer everything else. Sometimes I'd start with a summary because it wants you to think, you know, critically think. So I would do that. I would start with a summary and then finish off with my comprehension. It would be the last thing that I do. So if you feel like that's a safe thing to do as well, do it. If you feel like you want to do that, do it as well. They won't penalize you for starting with a summary and ending with a comprehension, for starting with cartoons and ending with a comprehension. They won't penalize you as long as you number your questions correctly, or you number your answers according to the questions. Don't make a mistake. I was talking about text A, right? Now we're talking about text B of the comprehension. you are doing English, right? So you obviously know that when it comes to a comprehension or question 1, there's always text A and text B. So what I was saying right now was based on text A, and now we're gonna focus on text B. So most people don't know this, right? But if you're a person that practices question papers a lot or uses question papers a lot, you will know that when it comes to English home language, right, text B is always based on what was said in text A. It's always similar. The topics are always similar. They barely change. So you're supposed to know and understand text A for you to answer text B, because it's similar. But when it comes to English FAL, text A and text B are two different things. In text A, they can talk about water. In text B, they can talk about fire. But when it comes to English home language, text A can talk about water and text B can also talk about water, but they will just complicate the questions here and there, but it will always be about the same thing. But for the FAL people, know that it's not similar. They talk about social media and then talk about teenage pregnancy. So you're supposed to balance the two. Now we move to section B. Section B is where there is a summary. They give you a summary and they want you to give points based on that summary. For some people who do not know, when they give you a summary, you are supposed to summarize. I don't know if it makes sense. You're supposed to summarize, but in your own words. So my tips for a summary is that the main thing that you should do is look for points. For example, they will say tips on how to get a distinction for your final exams. So while reading that summary, right, they will first tell you that metric is hard, metric is depressing, and then somewhere they will tell you that in order for you to get a distinction, you have to study every single day. Right? In order for you to get a distinction, you have to study each and every day. You have to prioritize your book. And then when you turn it into a point of your own words, you will say that they said you have to study every single day. You have to prioritize your books. In simple words, when you summarize it, you will be like, in order to get a distinction, you have to be productive when it comes to your academics. That is just a summary of what they are saying, but in your own words. You're not supposed to copy exactly what they wrote there, because if you copy it out of 10, you're going to get 6. If you copy exactly word for word, you're going to get 6. But make sure that you use your own words. Make sure that you understand the instructions. Make sure that you follow the instructions. One thing I've realized is that when it comes to English home language, it is 90 words. But when it comes to English FAL, they want 70 words. So please make sure you understand what you are doing. Then follow the instructions. Another thing that I have realized is that when it comes to English HL, they want you not to include the title of a summary. They want you to exclude it. But when it comes to FAL, they want you to give your summary a title. I don't know if you get me, but if you know, you know. You have to know. You're doing English and you've been doing English for a long time, so you have to know. Now we move to section C, which is the advertisement. I say advertisement, but some people call it an advertisement, but I call it an advertisement. I don't know why other people call it an advertisement. If I'm pronouncing it wrong by saying an advertisement, I'm sorry. So yeah, this is like the easiest section that you can ever come across, especially if you're a person if you're a person that likes things, like you like reading advertisements, you like following, you see trends or things in general, or you like reading posters. An advertisement is where you're actually going to get your marks. Make sure you do not get anything wrong here, because an advertisement is actually going to boost you more than you expected. The first tip I would say when it comes to an advertisement is that you should give yourself time to analyze the advertisement. Make sure that you understand it think about it. Look at everything that is there. When they show you a bottle, look at that bottle. And then when they're like, buy one, get one free, notice that, because they're going to ask you a question based on that advertisement. And one thing I know in general is that they like to ask you, who is the target market of that advertisement? Like, who are they targeting? Whose attention do they want to get? Who is this advertisement for? So if they are advertising about school, you will say that this advertisement is for students. If they are advertising water, you will say this advertisement is for people that want to stay hydrated, because you all know that when you drink water, you stay hydrated. And then when they advertise sunlight, they are advertising sunlight for people who want their dishes to be clean. Sunlight liquid, I'm talking about sunlight liquid. For people that want their dishes to be clean. So it's literally for everyone that wants their dishes to be clean. So even when you think more. When they advertise lotion for kids, they are advertising for children. So don't just let those easy marks slip away just because you're lazy to think. This is your future we're talking about. So think wisely. And then in most cases, right, they will give you a short message there, or they will give you a slogan there, and then they will ask you if that slogan rhymes or goes or supports the advertisement as a whole. And let me tell you, in general, the slogan or the message that is written there, it always supports the advertisement as a whole. Example, right? Good example, they are busy advertising Red Bull. And then when they advertise Red Bull, they're like, Red Bull gives you wings. And then when they say wings, they're not really talking about wings as in you will fly. But you know that a thing that flies because it has what? It has energy. So what they are basically trying to say is that when you drink Red Bull, you will have energy. To that extent, Yaku, you even feel like you could fly, because things that can fly have energy to fly. You can't just fly without the energy. So that's why they say Red Bull gives you wings. It gives you that energy. So a slogan or a message always goes with an advertisement. And then now we are going to cartoons. When it comes to cartoons, when they say they need visual clues, they are talking about things that you can see on the advertisement. Pictures, or maybe you can say, they like, give us a visual clue to show that that person is angry. And then you will say that she is frowning, like you can see that I'm frowning. They use certain elements to show that, this one is angry, like you can see that the cartoon is angry. So you are supposed to talk about what you are seeing in that cartoon. When it comes to cartoons, you have to know facial expressions. When you have time, Google on the internet to know the different types of facial expressions. Google to know the different types of body languages, because they'll ask you about someone's body language, that cartoon's body language. They will ask you about that cartoon's facial expression. So if you don't know, you are definitely gonna get it wrong. I also want you to know about speech bubbles. Those bubble thingies. So you're supposed to know if this person is talking, if this person is thinking, if this person is sleep talking. You're supposed to know the different types of speech bubbles and what they mean, and also know the differences. So I want to tell you something. Now we're talking about English home language. When they say what is the satire in this entire cartoon, they are talking about humor. What is the humor in this cartoon? What is the irony in this cartoon? Or maybe they are being sarcastic in a way. So that's what they mean when they talk about satire. And then when it comes to English file, they ask you directly, is there humor here? Was there humor that was created? And your answer will always be yes. The problem with English is that they make jokes that are only funny to white people. You know what I mean? some of the jokes as a black person you wouldn't laugh. You know how hard it is to actually make a black person laugh, okay? So with white people, you don't even have to try hard. So they give you humor that would actually make you laugh if you were white. So, but you wouldn't know because you're not white. There is always humor, you just don't know, you just don't understand. And then now we are going to question 5. FAL. Question 5.1.1 always wants you to know English. Here, that's all I can say. It wants you to know English. There's nothing I can say. It always wants you to know English. They will give you a statement, Yako, English error, and then you have to fix it. For example, gratitude is much more than. They are saying then, the statement, I'll put it up here. Gratitude is more than just saying please and thank you. So instead of saying than, they said then. And then you are going to fix it and be like, gratitude is more than just saying please and thank you. Someone wouldn't have seen or realized that mistake, but that then was supposed to be than. So yeah, you are supposed to know your parts of speech. You're supposed to know the degrees of comparison. You're supposed to know antonyms. In case you still don't know even now, antonyms, they're talking about opposite. What is the opposite of stand? Is sit. What is the opposite of sleep? Is awake. You know, antonyms. And then when they talk about synonyms, it's something that is similar. You see, to persuade someone is like to convince someone. You are supposed to know that there are some words that have similarities. Just like hope, I think the similarity or synonym of hope is to believe, is believe. I think so. I really think so. If I'm wrong, you'll correct me in the comment section. When it comes to English FAL, I'm still talking about FAL. Know the past tense, know the present tense, know the past continuous tense, know those things, know the direct and indirect speech, know reported speech, know how it operates. In this video, I'm not teaching you English, but I'm giving you tips on how to pass English. I am not teaching you English. I am giving you tips on how to pass English. Don't forget that and be like, yo, she's telling me things that I know. I am giving you tips. I'm not teaching you English. So, when it comes to English home language, error of concord is a numerical mismatch between a subject and its verb or a pronoun. There is a mismatch. You should go and search for the examples. So they always like to say, identify a spelling mistake. Just like I was giving an example, Gafal, they can say then instead of than. They can say than instead of then. So please look at that as well. No metaphors, no similes, especially both of you guys, both English FAL and English home language, no metaphors and no similes. And then when they talk about error of redundancy, this talks about like unnecessary words or repetitive words or phrases. So when it comes to colloquialism, it is a word or a phrase that is not formal. So you're supposed to know what italics are or what italics are being used for. And they are used to show that a certain word from that italics part is from another language. They took a certain word from that language, which is why they wrote whatever that they wrote in italics. And it is also used to emphasize something. Know all the nouns, know all passive voices and active voices, know how to change from active to passive, from passive to active, and then know what malapropism is and go through that book that I was talking about. This book will help you when it comes to paper 1, English home language and English FAL. This book pulled through for me more than my teacher did. So trust me, this book should be the love of your life when you want to get a distinction. With the tips that I gave you for paper 1, I hope they are very much helpful. If you're a person that was listening while I was talking and you do all of the things that I said, you're definitely gonna bang that distinction. You're gonna badge it, you're gonna bang it, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. So please don't sleep on yourself. Please don't sleep on your marks. Please study. Okay, I can give you 100 tips if I want to, but if you don't put in the hard work, there's nothing that will happen. Your marks won't change. Your marks will remain the same. With this one, it is very direct. I cannot lie to you and say whatever. This one is direct. Remember, I am not teaching you. I am giving you tips. So when it comes to paper 2, when you read that Macbeth book, we did it. If you're a person that is doing English home language, we did it in grade 11 or 10, I don't remember, but we did Macbeth and they're doing it in grade 12. So when you're reading that Macbeth book, you will read it once. While reading it, you summarize. I will show you how I used to summarize My Children, My Africa. How I used to summarize Othello. How I used to summarize, what's the other book? Transforming Moments, short stories. The Last Breath. All of those short stories. Yes, that's how I used to summarize it. Life of Pi. That's how I used to summarize them. I will show you. But I will just show you one part because I don't want the video to be long. Here is the summary that I was talking about. For the people that are doing first additional language, don't ever think that My Children, My Africa is boring and it's hard to understand. That is the easiest book because it talks about liberation. It talks about freedom. It's the most simplest book ever, but students are just lazy. When you are busy reading and making your summaries, take note of each and everything that is happening. Just like when they said Mr. M rang the bell 3 times. Know what it means when they said he rang that bell for 3 times. Why did he ring that bell 3 times? He rang it so that those people in there could be silent, because it's like they were debating. They were not silent anymore. They were making noise. So that bell resembles silence. When studying poems, right? When studying your English poems, please do not choose which one you won't read. Read all of them, even when you don't have time, even if it just means 5 minutes scanning through. Read all of them, just like the people that are doing FAL. Don't choose which short story you're going to read and which one you won't read. Read all of them. Just because this year or last year they took out Transforming Moments, don't feel like they're going to take it out again, because they'll take out The Last Breath, or they will take out Transforming Moments, or they'll take out another short story which you were not expecting or which you did not read. So you're supposed to know all of them, or maybe they'll take out The Next Door. Another tip that I would like to give you is that, do you see that grade 12 app? When it comes to English, do not take it for granted. When I used to study English, right, I used to go to question 5. I wouldn't write a question paper like question by question by question by question, like as in question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. I would do maybe 6 question 5s at the same time, and then 6 cartoons at the same time, and then 6 summaries at the same time. That's how I used to study. I'm like, today I'm doing this and this and this. I used to do question 3, 4, 5 on the same day. Question 1, I also did it on the same day. 6 question 1s on the same day. Question 2, 6 of them on the same day. So when studying, please do that as well. I feel like it's very helpful because you get to realize your mistakes. But if you can go question 1, question, like writing a full question paper, especially for English, when you're done, you'll be tired. But if you can do question 5, and then you start marking, and you see your answers, you're like, yeah, I went wrong. Why did I write was instead of is? You see? And then you're like, Mara, yeah, I was correct. And then you gain that confidence. And if you're a person that prays, the first answer that you write when you get to the exam room, do not cancel it, because in most cases it's always correct. Do not doubt your answer if you are a person that prays. So if you don't pray, I don't know. So don't cancel your answer, don't doubt your answer. You prayed about it. That is the first answer that came to your mind because it's correct. So in most cases you can crash or you can erase only to find out that the answer that you erased was correct. Don't doubt yourself. Gain that confidence while doing question papers. So another tip that I'll give you when it comes to English paper 2 is that when they ask you a question, right, please explain in full. If they say, was Mr. M killed by the mob? Don't be like, yes. Or don't be like, no. If you think it's yes and no, answer that you think it's yes and no. Explain why you think it's no and then explain why you think it's yes. My explanations are the ones that saved me. I'll show you. Did you see that? The only reason why I got 65 or 64 out of 70 for paper 2 is because I would explain and I would share points. So make sure that you do that as well. Like I said, do not leave any blank spaces. And that is it for today's video. I hope the tips that I mentioned are very much helpful. Guys, if you ever feel like watching my videos helps you and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, because I take my time to help you so that you can pass. It's not like I don't have things to do, but I value education a lot, and I know how it feels like to be academically excluded or to feel like you are drowning academically. So I wouldn't wish that for you. If you ever feel like my videos are useful to you, please subscribe to my channel, so each and every time when I post, you'll be notified. Turn on that notification bell as well, but subscribe, because I want you to do well as much as I did well. I want you to do better than me, or like me, but not less than me. All the best and goodbye. God bless, and don't forget to pray. Bye.